Hello, everyone. My name is Bobby L. Perry. This is the fifth episode of BPerryFilms Podcast. Today's guest, we have Shaffany Terrell. She's a dancer and actress. On today's topic, we will be discussing the artistry of dance. We will be talking about the differences between being a dancer and a choreographer, some of the pros and cons, and our life stories as being performers for as long as we've been a part of it. So, Shaffany, welcome to the show, and you can introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Shaffany Terrell. I am a dancer, singer, actress, performance artist. Yeah, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for coming. We're gonna define the word dance because this could be a lot of things to people. So in your definition, what do you consider dance to be?
I consider dance to be everything that the human body can do, any action, any movement, down to just regular, everyday pedestrian walking down the street, depending on like the lens I'm choosing to wear, like whether that be like a artist, choreographer, or just like a person that's just people watching. But I guess that's the whole point of like when you're an artist, it's kind of hard to like not like think like one.
Definitely.
So like, yeah, I consider anything that the body can do organically, like as not a trained dancer, that could be dance. You know what I'm saying? I just think it's the movement of the body.
When I think of dance, I think about the sequence of movement. It doesn't have to, well, I would like to say it should be organic. Not everything has to be staged. And not every dance piece has to have audio or sound.
Nope.
There was a theory that there's can be absolute silence, but actually there can't because your heart beats, your veins and everything, there's still noise. But how do you capture that audience without, stomping your feet, clapping your hands, and, all the extra noise and the music from artists telling the dialogue, but how do you tell your own story? Next, we'll define what is a dancer. A dancer is a person who displays movement that is choreographed, and there's usually a story behind each thing, whether it's happy or sad. They usually have someone called a choreographer that we're gonna describe in a minute, who captures movement and tries to reach out to the audience through an exchange of not always dialogue, but dialogue with movement. When people think of dialogue, they always think of you talking, but sometimes you can do it without sound. You can say hi like this, bye like that, or looking over there, see how I went over there, and your whole position of where your eyes go, and you're just thinking, what's going on over there? Why did he move that fast? Or pacing, stuff like that. So what's your thoughts? You didn't mention that you don't have to be trained to be considered a dancer. Not everyone has
to. Because I think it's just like a verb, you know what I'm saying? It's just something that you do, dancer. So it's like, and it's also like even the word dancer itself, it's like, that's something that your blood can do.
Right.
Your blood can be dancing inside of you. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's just like sporadic movement or something that the body does. Another form of movement, another form of communication. But like, what is a dancer? Like, what is a dancer to me is kind of like, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. Like, what is a dancer? I is dancer. You are a dancer. What is a dancer? A person with a person.
Yes, definitely. That's the answer to it. It's just a person.
It's a person.
Who's choreographed. Just simple as that. And we can break into like the roles of a dancer. I think you're like a student. you get all this information from the choreographer and you just put on this performance, and hopefully it engages the audience, and hopefully they feel some type of impact by your performance. And this can be done with one or more people in a group.
Yeah. Definitely.
Now we can break down choreographer. And I think you have to earn this title. I don't think everybody's a choreographer, but I'll let you explain your definition.
Okay. I think choreography, a choreographer.
Yeah, you can talk about choreography too.
A choreographer is like the same thing as a painter does when they're on their own. They create, you know. I think the weird thing, well, it's not really weird. So like, it's just, so a person that's what a person that's a dancer. Not saying that every dancer out there wants to even be a choreographer, you know what I'm saying? But I think every dancer is a choreographer, regardless if they showcase it as one as or not. Because what you do in your room alone, and if you find you find yourself doing it repetitively, like making your own dance, that's choreographing.
Mm-hmm. When I think of a choreographer, I do agree with what you're saying, but when I say that I earn that title, it's because not everyone's good at storytelling, and I talk about that a lot.
Most definitely.
And I feel like everything should have a beginning, middle, and end, and everything has to flow in a certain manner. And I believe the difference between being a choreographer and a dancer is that you as a choreographer are responsible for translating the story, making sure everybody feels comfort, because you're also a mentor guiding these people through their steps. Mm-hmm. There's like that type of like accountability, like being present in that moment, even on you're tired from working that 80-hour week working on a dance set or whatever, because it does take longer than an hour sometimes for most pieces, especially in ballet. Mm-hmm. But being in that present moment, like no one should feel tired unless if you're tired. You set the tone. When you tell them get on the floor, do some improv or something, or do something standing up, you have to see the levels. You are not only just the person who's teaching the dance. You're not the only person who's dancing to this. You're also an audience as well, and being able to translate, okay, this might not look good. Let me place it somewhere else. Maybe add this transition. Maybe we should have row, row your boat type of theme where the movement goes like da, da, then someone else goes da, da into something else. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's that accountability that's involved. There's also, you got a budget, you got to pay for your dancers. Not everyone wants to work for free. As you already know, you have to pay for venues, entertainment lawyers. There could be contracts, legal actions. There's a lot. And that's why I say not everyone is fit to be a choreographer or as a choreographer, but it's a kind of like a mindset, kind of like being an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you want to touch on anything else on that? Like any differences or
on being a choreographer
compared to being a dancer?
Yeah, I think, you know, it is about telling a story when you are choreographing work. I think it's about what you want your audience to feel. But most of all, it's also about like what you feel as a choreographer. Like, what do I feel? Is it important for my audience to feel exactly what it is that I'm feeling in this piece? Or do I want them to come up with their own interpretation of what they feel and come up with their own story? Like what is it that I'm what direction of storytelling am I going in? So it's just like I feel like those are things that you can think about as like when you are doing choreography, when you're creating your work, when you're creating work. It's those are things that I think about as a choreographer.
Definitely.
do I want them to feel something specifically, or do I want them to come up? I mean, the whole goal is for them to feel something, period. But like what direction? And direction, I think, is very important, whether that be like, music, dance, whatever, like whatever art form that, I mean, it just in life, period. You know what I'm saying? I think definitely in life too. Like not just art, but just the direction, like
Definitely.
where you're going. And most of all, what are you made of? You
Yes.
know?
And you have to be accepting of judgment, and not everyone's gonna like your work.
Most
Like just
definitely. Everyone isn't gonna like your work. And it's like, but at the same time, don't I wouldn't I me personally, I don't really I think I don't ever think I've ever made something where I'm just like, I'm making something so they can specifically like this. You
feel
know
that
what
way.
I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like, I mean, I would love for everyone to like it. But like at the same time, like, yeah. But yeah, go on. What we were gonna say, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say feedback is important, and there is a little bit of judgment. Just
Mm-hmm.
like with music, there'll probably be about 50 or 60 different dance pieces that you come up with, and then you're in front of a piano, and they're like, "We like this one. We don't like this, change that," and it's up to you to make those adjustments. Maybe you have a vision that they don't see, and you have to convince them that it will work, or maybe you have to see their vision because they might see something that you don't see. So sometimes recording your own pieces sometimes will help you get that insight, and also when you're in the venue, I will recommend sitting in different angles of seats, like on the sides or up above or ground level,
Mm-hmm.
because you're able to see what the person is able to see, and you can see how the lighting and costume affects. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love this topic a lot. I chose this because dance is sometimes overlooked. People don't understand the complexity that goes with it and the level of stress. People think, "Oh, I can do this." I watched some who's real big. We'll say some Chris Brown music videos. Oh, I'm just like him. I can moonwalk, but it's more than just the moonwalk. you know,
Yeah.
it's just like he's really present. He's there to entertain you. He shows you his artistry, and
I think the deeper topic is that, you know, dance is definitely um recognized as being one of the most hardest things to do. Like it's been recognized. It has. Dance has been recognized as being a hard occupation.
mhm.
Mentally, physically, and emotionally. They can be taxing and each of those categories, okay? Like it can be very hard for you. And especially if you actually have like, some type of like knowledge, experience, even if you're not a dancer, but you like maybe you've taken a dance class and you're just like, oh my God, this is hard as SHIT. I don't know if I can swear, so I'm just not gonna. But yeah, yeah. So like, but I think I think the topic of wanting to feel like why I understand why you say that about respect, because it almost seems like it could be like looked upon as being a dying art form.
Mhm.
But I think I don't know, with the way the world is going, I think the world, I would like to think from my perspective, I know my perspective is not all perspective, so just hear me out. But I think that people are starting to kind of be interested in the non-European.
Art forms, yeah,
Yeah.
because
And
everyone.
that's where the money is. And to be honest, like, yeah. So I feel like I mean you could compare ballet as like the pedagogy system that everybody like
Even when you
learns
look up
off
the
of
definition of
in
dance,
schools.
They just put ballet as like the number one thing.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm saying like you can compare that to the same thing like as like that how we learn in schools. You know what I'm saying? I didn't learn about Tulsa till I was out of school. Okay? Till I was out of high school. Like there's a lot of things. I feel like the school that we did go to, like I will say, you know, BAA, woo, woo, high school, what? But yeah, like, like I do feel like they did try, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like they were also, I feel like, what it's not necessarily, it wasn't necessarily considered a public, like a Boston public school, right?
Right.
Was it like, what was it? It was not necessarily like a pilot either. I forget what it's called, but like
it's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, pretty much. It just seems like there was a little bit more of a you know.
But you got to remember, we were only there for 4 years. Well, we were actually participating in the program before then, though. But there's only so much that you can learn in those few hours each day, versus if you're dancing full time, working with an artist or working with a company where you're probably working 8 to 12 hours, 16 hours, getting ready for a tour.
Yeah.
So there's only so much education that you can throw at somebody before everyone's like, this is too much, and then they start running away. But it definitely gives you the mindset. Taking the entry level classes, I think, who was it? Ty Jimenez. She even said it as a principal dancer. She still takes beginner classes. And same thing with Debbie Allen. They still take dance classes. And for people with those high platforms, you would think, oh, they would have a conceited attitude. But no, they're a student first. And when you put yourself in a student mode and you humble yourself, you can actually learn something and it might improve your skills. Never think that you're better than anyone. You can only be better than yourself.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely.
So I'm going to ask you some interview questions now that we brainstorm some of our ideas. We're going to go back and forth on that.
Okay.
So when did you get started? How you got started with dance?
How I got started? When did I get started?
When and how? Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Wow. How did I get started with dance? Well, I've kind of always been exposed. My parents always kind of kept me exposed to like performing arts, like throughout my life. So like, when I was a kid, my my parents put me in like little dance classes, when you're little, like, oh, so cute upstage on that stage. Yeah, like don't know what you're doing. But then like I kind of like took a, I just clearly wasn't interested, in that life. And then I started like, I picked up the instruments. I picked up like the violin, quit that. Then I picked up the cello. I ended up quitting cello because like, I think I pretty much quit cello my 10th grade year in high school on the low. No one really knew I played cello, but like,
I'm learning this.
Yeah, but I couldn't keep up with it. Like I couldn't like be dancing in school, practicing the dances that we're doing in school, dancing outside of school, in a program, you know what I'm saying? And still managed to like focus on this. Like I just like my whole world, my whole life, my whole mind was just about dancing at that point. But like I started performing in the Black Nativity when I was like about like 5, 6 years old. And I used to see like all the the principal roles of Mary and when they would dance, and it was like pretty much traditional African dance, and like being exposed to that and just seeing the Alvin Ailey as a child, my mom taking me there, to see the alien. So like those were my moments of exposure. or seeing like the ballet, Boston Ballet Nutcracker. Like those are my moments of like exposure to like dance, like on like stage. But like throughout my life, I've always watched movies, Fame and Chicago.
Doesn't Plus Arts Academy seem like Fame to you? Like it felt like it. Just
I
like
feel
the
like people in Boston Arts Academy wanted it to be like Fame, but like in reality, it wasn't. But yeah, but I do understand. It was just, I feel like, yeah, I definitely feel like we had definitely
there was a lot
freedom.
of time,
We
you
had
know?
we had a lot of freedom in expressing ourselves freely as high school students.
Definitely.
Like, yeah, like there were times where, certain people might have put a cap on something, but more so just as far as like expressing yourself, wanting to dance, or just like sing or act, or, visual artists, or, just explore art. Like it seemed like, our school was a lot more open to that freedom of expression than other schools, rightfully so, because it's an artist school. It's a school for arts. Like,
Definitely.
you're taking all these students in because of what they can do, and it makes sense. And it also it also makes sense on the type of like environment that was like, created by the faculty, but also like, nurtured and kind of created by the student body.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could
Definitely.
definitely say we're lucky, in that sense.
I know for me, dance became part of like my personal brand growing up. I my sisters used to dance, and then I seen the Nutcracker for the first time, and I'm like, oh, I want to do that. Signed me up for some ballet classes, got exposed to modern, seen the Alvin Ailey performance, and I was like, oh, I want to be just like him, even though we never got to see him. I think he passed away before, you know. But I was like, I definitely want to start choreographing. I used to put my little office space over here used to be my stage where I used to perform. I used to charge $10 for kids and $20 for adults. I did enough chores to make up money for costumes, lighting, little flashlights, and you have like the
Mm-hmm.
little cover, like a filter to change the colors.
Mm-hmm.
Music. Yeah, I was convinced, and everyone wanted me to teach them how to dance, and I was like, "Yep, start my own business."
Right.
And then years just went by, and going to Boston Arts Academy and being able to work with so many dance companies way before then. I went to all performing arts schools. So it's just great seeing how I was able to transform over these years. And I was that really shy kid, didn't want to be in front of everyone. But being on stage, I was like a completely different person. They're like, he really did all that? I'm like, yeah, I guess. And then I just go into my little corner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, we're
I think
here.
that's the beauty of being a choreographer. Like, just because you make, or being an artist, period. Just because when you make something, sometimes what you make and what you produce can be very like big and just like grand and all these things. And not saying who you are isn't big and grand, but like, you know, like sometimes what you portray as an artist can like reflect the feelings that you feel inside. But as a person, we don't always like showcase how we feel. So yeah.
I think that's the importance of experimenting with different genres because there's so much education between everything. People look down on hip hop for whatever reason. They claim it's not technical, but there's so many different styles. There's voguing, there's popping, locking, crumping. Like there's so many technicalities to these different genres that people don't educate themselves on. So don't just judge. Go to that workshop, ask questions, see if they can give you some information on that
Yeah,
work.
but still, that's again, that's like a Europeanized standard. lens. And only a
Right.
person with that lens would say something that way. Because anybody that's a dancer would want to be versatile in all of those, or even if that's not your forte, like you would want to have some type of experience with all of those forms of dance. You don't have to, but you should want to.
And I ask you, this is a good question. What were some of your, who were your influences, or what was your influence to start dance? Like you personally, not just your parents, but when did you figure out that you want to do this like full time?
Well, like as far as dance goes, I mean, I've decided that like a long time ago, like probably like when I was like, outside of high school, in college, when I'm like in these like, these musicals, you know, acting or dancing or doing it all. Um, that no matter what, that this is how I want to make my money. And I've been sticking to that ever since. So,
Yeah.
like, yeah, like beginning college, 2013, like, where I made that decision that that's what I'm going to be, this is what I'm going to be spending the rest of my life doing. Now, am I going to be just like a dance choreographer? Like right now, like I'm about to be in a whole musical, The Christmas Carol at Trinity Repertory Theater, and there's very little dancing that is included in that. It's mostly acting, but if I and singing, but like if it's more so about like when I put my own work on, I've incorporated dance in all of my work. Is mostly heavily dance based, regardless if I have like spoken word poetry, like some type of mixed media, like added to it or whatever of like whatever my piece is. But that's kind of like dance is definitely like the direction that I'm in. That I'm in, definitely.
My inspiration was I just want to be good at everything, and you know, it would be nice to inspire people because I didn't get like a lot of praise growing up. I had to work to get respect. You didn't get that before, and not feeling entitled to things because things don't always go your way. But being able to be like, okay, this is a loss, but guess what? I'm gonna see if I can shadow someone because you don't know if someone might drop, and guess what? I end up getting a leading role sometimes.
Oh, most definitely. Like I definitely do the things that I do as an artist, period. Like I don't really like I'm definitely a dance choreographer, but I'm just an artist first. Like because that's not all I do. So that's personally that's like kind of like the title that I have as a as a being navigating through the world. But like anything that I do, anything that I accomplish, I know people are watching, and I know that there are little girls that I've had, little girls and boys that I've had encounters with on a very positive and influential level, and it might not be like a Beyonce type of influential, but it's more of like it could be actually looked at as being even greater because this is tangible and something that you can actually touch and talk to and communicate back and forth with as a human being. And it's like seeing me sing on stage, and a little girl can see that, and it's like that's something that I want to do, and she can come up to you and talk to you about how you did amazing and talk to you about how you're doing exactly what it is that she wants to do, like her dream. You know what I'm saying? And that's with any art form, period. But I'm just more so saying like I definitely do it for like the future, and I definitely do it for the now as well. Like, because regardless if you necessarily want to be an influencer or not, I think once you decide to make your work public, you're placing yourself in a position where you can influence people.
Yeah, definitely. We talk about giving back to the community, not just money, because people think I'm donating thousands of dollars to this organization. It has no impact on them. You don't know what they're spending all that money. But when you're doing workshops, I know I was able to, I'm not sure if you were able to at one point, but being able to work with younger people and being able to teach them your craft and make them feel like they're part of the organization.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I've just literally got done teaching for the Yasi program in Providence, Rhode Island, where it's like, they take inner city kids and just kids from around, and they pretty much engage with them, teach them acting, singing, dancing. They have a whole bunch of like intensives that they have to go through. I think it's like a week intensive or whatever. But yeah.
The one I did was through BU. It's called Reach. Where in a 4-week program, you get 2 weeks of training. I got to choreograph twice, and I'm very grateful for that. Along with dancing, being able to reach out to your audience, like not only just putting on a performance, but interacting with them for 2 whole hours, teaching them some choreography, playing games with them. And it's just like, wow, they're like little versions of who I used to be. And it's just like, I feel loved and, giving that affection back and really being in that present moment. And, it's just the little things that make a difference. It's that little icing on the cake, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, question for you. How has your career expanded over the years?
Oof. I mean, definitely expanded. I mean, where do I start? Well, I guess like maybe the expansion is the payoff, for all the hard work that I've been doing, that I've done. Like, I've been doing a lot of different musicals, here and there. More involved like on the musical theater side, dancing, singing, and acting and stuff. And I've definitely expanded to a point to where I was just offered an equity contract, So I'm now a part of Actors Equity. I'm a part of a union now. As far as
on that.
Yeah, and then I'm on my way. I'm on my way. And I'm also able to audition like for roles that are literally just for equity. I was gonna say students, but I guess we're all students, but like just like equity based actors. And just have a little bit more of an opportunity. I mean, there are pros and cons to being an equity actor, but like there's a lot of pros. There's a whole lot of pros. There's a lot of pros being a part of Actors Equity. Like, what was I saying? What? No, not cons. Pros. Like lights, camera, action. A lot of great things to come. Being that. So I'm on my way on that sense, as far as growth goes with that. And I continue, I want to continue to audition for more roles and just more opportunities, more things to come, and to keep on sharpening, my sword, like, whether that's, putting myself in classes or whatever whatever it is that I have to do to get myself right and to keep on pushing and hustling to, to survive as an artist and to thrive, you know, whether if it's something that I'm creating or just something that I'm being a part of that someone else created. I definitely think those are two different things, two different feelings of fulfillment, you know,
Definitely.
something that you create and then something that you're, you know, like if I audition and I get into give me something. Give me a musical.
This is gonna be basic, but for most people in this audience, they know High School Musical, they know Cats. I'm just thinking of movies.
Whatever, Cats, Hamlet, whatever, In the Heights, who
Yeah,
knows?
and
Cool, Chicago,
yeah.
anything. Like if I like, obviously I didn't write any of those things, any of those scores, any of the script, nothing. Yeah, like, but that's still an accomplishment. That's still something like that's still something that would fulfill me as an artist, even though I didn't like have any type of like, you know, contribution to the blueprint, but I am contributing once I'm on the stage. Like I'm giving myself, I'm, you know, playing a role, you know, and getting to be a part of like telling a story, you know. And I think that's the beauty of like not being that's the beauty and challenge of the person that did not do the creating of the story, is to like be able to make the vision that's not necessarily your vision come to life, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the fulfilling that's the fulfillment.
I like how you like sharing the moment.
Yeah, and that's really what it is. And it's like, but as a person that is creating, that is the choreographer, that is the writer, that is the director, you know, like, you know, like that's another that's it's a different like it's a way more precious and closer feeling, you know, to me personally. um but it's just as good. Like it's not, maybe not just as, but like it's amazing, it's beautiful. Like those are both different things, but they're both very heavy and could be very impactful and lucrative, you know, accomplishments, you know, in someone's life, or just someone like me, you know what I'm saying? Like regardless. So, but also like I feel like I've expanded was because it's like I never really ever thought to myself that I want to be a, you know, a performance artist. Like,
I did. Speak
you
for
know,
yourself.
like I'm never like as far as being a performer and being on stage, always. I know I'm a performer. That's who I am. But like as far as like creating work for a different type of like audience, through a different lens, like I think when you are a performance artist, you can, you know, there's more opportunity to devise work and create a whole world. You know what I'm saying? Whatever world, whatever tone, wherever it is that you as an artist, choreographer, creator is trying like to convey to the audience. And I think that's something that's somewhere I've expand that's how I think that's how I've expanded as a person that um is on a, you know, never ending journey and finding themselves as an artist, um and creating who it is that they want to be. And I feel like, you know, during high school, you know, we choreograph, we make work, we're doing all these things, but like outside of, you know, high school and college, it's like you get more exposed to different types of genres of work, you know, where you can see a person dancing in a gallery, you know, in an art gallery, or you've seen um, collaborative pieces where you have a person that is a sculptress that brings a dancer along. Like, it's not taking away from their work, it's actually shining more light to the work, but it's also a collaboration of work, or a person that wants to just, you know, sees so much more beyond like whatever is like opportunity is given to them, that they just want to create like a story, a world, a place. Maybe it's something that you can interact with, you know, doing like interactive pieces where you do have installation where other people are interacting with you. Maybe they came to see this show and now they're dancing in the show. Who knows? Like, you're an audience member, but now you're on stage and you're dancing with the choreographer. Like, who knows? You know what I'm saying? And I think I think that's how I've expanded as a dancer, or just an artist in general, like doing my own work where I, you know, incorporate dance, singing, and acting, and, you know, spoken word, poetry, mixed media, all of those things. And like, I think that's how I've expanded, where I'm thinking like limitless, like, or just also I've expanded by having people around me that ask me questions, you know, that ask me questions, that are interested in, you know, me, like in my work. I think I've expanded as an artist by people being interested in me collaborating with them and wanting to know what it is that I can bring to the table, or my specific lens, or the way I think about something, or whatever the case may be. But I've also grown to get to where I am right now by being just a person that is being like, oh, hey, can you be in this choreography? Like, I just want you to, you know, do a certain type of role, where it's like I'm clearly there just learning the choreography and, you know, being placed in certain spaces. But again, that's also an honor, because you are being chosen to help tell a story,
Yeah.
you know? And as an artist, like as an actor, if you haven't gone through a specific like type of trauma, maybe, you know, maybe it's something traumatic, and this is something that, you know, but you can find pain, you can find whatever type of traumatic, like, I don't want to use the word thing because I think it's just such a lazy word to
Yeah.
use, but you can find whatever type of traumatic interaction that you've had to face through life, and push that through whatever it is that you're trying to like convey through your monologue as an actor. You know what I'm saying? And that goes for everything when it comes to like creating or doing something that's specific. If it's not necessarily something that you know, created, but there's still space to create, like as your own artist, even when you are being placed in a space, you know, like I am the one in control to make the audience feel something. You
We
know what I'm
talked about
saying?
it on the first episode of the podcast. We talked about the artistry of music and the difference between being an artist and an entertainer. We described the entertainer as the person who's like getting the crowd going, but the artist, well, just like how you mentioned visual artists, people might see a blank canvas, but you might actually see something like maybe there's stars there, maybe there's something basic like this. Someone showed you a picture of a triangle. Someone sends you a letter of four, number of four. and you're just like, what does this mean? What does a triangle have to do with the number 4? It could be 3 people or 4 people. There could be 4 counts of 8. There could be 3 counts of 8. They could be moving in a square shape or a triangle shape, or there might be different phrases. Mm-hmm. You have to be on what's in front of you. And I think that is what an artist is. Now we're going to go into some obstacles that you have occurred. We'll both give our experiences. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead. Go first.
Okay. I would say judgment. Like you have mentioned before, there's a lot of European type of talk where you have to look a certain way. You might experience racism, colorism. You're judged every day. You don't know what type of artist you can be working with. Mm-hmm. And you go to auditions, you might think, oh, okay, I'm going to be better than everyone. Nope, you're cut. Mm-hmm. Just because of your weight, just because of your height, just because your skin tone, maybe your ethnic group. You just don't know. Never go in there overconfident. Don't look at other people and saying, oh, that person has a pigeon toe. Maybe that person likes that pigeon toe. So don't criticize other people. Focus on you. Every day is a learning experience. Just because you didn't get into that role, like I had mentioned to you earlier, see if you can stay after. See if you can stay for the whole audition. See what you can learn. They might see the hard work and effort that you're putting into this. And they might be like, wow, we overlooked this person. This person could not be a tree, but somewhere in the background or something if they're not.
Yeah.
We're going for.
I get it. Yeah.
Because there are some people who used to be in talent shows and they were the tree because they were the tall person. So, you know, but you don't know what opportunities may come your way. And that's another thing that you can add to your resume. Mm-hmm.
Most definitely. Me personally, I feel like my biggest obstacle is myself personally. But like, as far as everybody else goes, like, to be honest with you, Bobby, I feel like I've experienced ridicule on a whole nother level that people probably don't even really know. But to be honest, like, I was in a newspaper, you know what I'm saying? Like, embarrassed, like at a very early age, you know what I'm saying? From being disciplined in a show, you know, Black Activity. Like, as far as all eyes on you, being made an example of, being made fun of, all of those things I have gone through throughout my whole entire life. So like for me personally, I could care less. Because at the end of the day, I feel like if I didn't go through all of those things, that I wouldn't have tough skin, the type of tough skin that I do have in like real life. Like having tough skin, it's like something I feel like, you know, I feel like we're at a place where we're trying to like have acknowledgement about like mental health and like right and wrong, and like just be a little bit more real about certain things. You know what I'm saying? So as much as saying that I have tough skin is a good thing, it's also kind of not good, because it's like
sometimes you have to step away sometimes. Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's stepping away, but it's more so of just like certain experiences that someone you could just look back on and just say to yourself, like, actually, I didn't deserve that. Actually, that really sucked. Wish it didn't happen. Like, that's a real thing. But like, you know, but you actually experiencing the experience, it doesn't take away from that either. I think it's just, it's not a good thing or a bad thing, but I think I had to kind of like check myself a little bit, because I'm not trying to really glorify having to be like a person that has to just get over things that are said about them all the time, or like whatever the case may be. Like, that's not easy. It's especially not easy being a Black woman. Like, those are not things that are like normal, but like whatever. Those are things that's just like my reality. So in reality, I could let those things interactions beat me, break me, shake me, you know, or I can just have the experience. And it's okay to cry. You know what I'm saying? Have the experience. Like, and when I say have, like, really have whatever that experience is, go through it. But also, like, learn from it and just be like, you know, maybe that was messed up, but I'm still standing, and you just keep pushing forward because there's so many great things and so many blessings that are already being bestowed on my life, regardless if I've prayed for them or not, because it's written in the stars. And everybody's path is not necessarily the path. Like, I just feel like there are people in the world that are special and that have particular paths and that are put here in the world for a specific assignment. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I think certain things that I've gone through, people in my shoes wouldn't even last a day, and or even be put together how I am right now till that, like, right now. So, like, yeah, like, I don't know.
Definitely.
Like, I don't.
I was like, self-care is definitely important.
Self-care is so important, but also,
Sometimes,
like, not beating up on yourself about certain things, or like victimizing your own, like, not victimizing, or like, you know, blaming your own self for certain things that might not even have been in your control. You know what I'm saying? Like, when people say mean things, or when like, whatever it is, like, you can take that on as it being like your problem, or you could just look at it being like, nah, it's actually not my problem. Maybe I was in the wrong space at the wrong time, or maybe it is happening for a specific reason, but it doesn't necessarily make what's specifically happening to the individual necessarily right. But, like, I think it is good if you have people that are in your life, that if you have a support system behind you, some, like, you know, I'm definitely blessed. Like, my mother, my family, they all love me. I come from a very strong Black family, like, strong, very strong. And, like, I am lucky in a sense where it's like I do have my family and they want to see me succeed. You know, they want to see me succeed. And not only that, they want to see me succeed on the level because they support my dreams. They support me, you know, throughout all those things, you know, all that ridicule that's happening. And I think that's what makes the things that do happen to me, and, like, you know, little
yeah.
light work is whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, but also I've also become this way because of the things that I have experienced, and also becoming older, and, like, just looking at things for what they are, and also looking, like, when I say that, like, looking at all the bad, but also all the good. And I think when you start thinking about more so of the good, like the ridicule and stuff, like, it's just best to, like, not let that change you, you know?
And it's not, and you don't always have to respond to everyone because you're giving them more attention.
Oh, yes. No, no, no. Yeah. No, I'm more so talking about, like, inner work. I'm not necessarily
I know.
talking about, like, arguing and all that other stuff, because that's not cute. Because at the end of the day, like, I feel like we're in an era in time where it's cute to be combative, but it's not. It's not. Like, having an opinion, I think, is more so looked upon and is being censored hard body throughout life period right now, regardless. Like, if you start doing your research about the things that are currently happening, censorship is something that's happening on all levels. But, like, some would say for the good, some would say for the worst. But, like, I think, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not trying to dive in too deep, but I don't know.
Right.
I mean, I do know, but yeah.
People are just like, they come to me and they're like, how do you keep so organized? You got your dancing, your choreography, your podcast, and you do film. like, how do you manage it all? And I'm like, deep down, I'm really stressed out, but I have an agenda that I check on every time, and I make sure my guests feel comfort with the topics that we talk about, and making sure that everyone feels inclusive, because we have to translate it to you guys in the audience to make sure that you get some substance out of it. And we highlight self-care because when you overwork yourself and you're nearly burning out, it actually affects your performance and people start tuning you out. So you need to know when to level down. Just say, I need a moment, I need a day to just like recuperate. Not just saying it, but actually implementing that skill. I like how Shaffany expressed her story and not let negative comments deter her from her goal.
Yeah.
But made it into, this is just me, love me or hate me, but I'm still gonna be me at the end of the day. And we just need to find comfort in that. My other comment that I would have to say for judgment, I mean, not judgment, but another con I would say is income. People think because you see the recording artists making millions of dollars, I'm like, they got to pay for lawyers, they got to pay for agents, security, the rent, travel venues, set designs. Same thing with dance. We don't get the same recognition, but we're doing all that work to make them look good, you know? And sometimes we might have to work as a waitress or a waiter or work at a hotel just to make a stable income while there's not a peak season.
But I think that just goes into understanding how you're conducting yourself during business.
True. And not everyone gets the same amount of resources too.
True, but also conducting yourself during business and not settling. It's like, all right, like if there no, like it's an ecosystem when it comes to like the entertainment world, you know? And a person that is a dance choreographer, speaking as a dance choreographer, and having a business mind, yes, it is my best interest to work with someone that has my best interests. But if I'm with someone that doesn't have my best interests, I have my best interests. So it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, if there is a specific type of time equity that's being put into, like, say if I have to do choreography for some random singer or whatever. If I want from experience, like, I could look back at certain things, I could be like, damn, maybe I should have asked for more money. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Maybe, like, and that's not a bad thing.
And read your contracts. Definitely, you guys. A lot of people don't read those.
Some things don't even have contract. You know, to be just keeping it like real, like especially when you're like just making it in the world, like you're just trying to, you know, find work, do work, put out work, you know, you're just hustling. A lot of things don't, like, people don't, like, some people are just like you and me, like you're like meeting you're another version of yourself on another playing field that's a totally different person, but like, you know, they're trying to, you know, create something. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, some people might not have that business savvy mind where it's like there, you know, there's a contract, but even still, like, if they don't have a contract, you could have a contract. Me as a dancer, I can come out, you know, with like a contract of everything that is, you know, as far as like the time of that is taking me to come up with this choreography, the time that is going to teach me, the time it's going to take me to like teach you, and this is what I'm also charging you for. You know what I'm saying? If that's how you want to do it. But I think as being an artist, I think it's no matter who you are, it's important to learn like business.
Definitely.
Because you are your business. You know what I'm saying? You are your Black business. You are your business. You know what I'm saying? Like, no matter what, like you could get, anybody could get an LLC. Anybody can individually. Like, you are your own business. Anybody can be a private contract. Like you know.
I keep telling people you can either be these three type of things. You can either be your brand, you can be your personal life, or you can include both. Like when people think of me at Shaffany, they think of dance. That's our brand. That's who we are.
Yeah.
Enough about the cons. We want to encourage people that there are some perks to being a performer. I know that we normally people start out with the bad, with the good, but we want to leave on a lighter note. So,
yeah.
So I would say traveling, being able to go across the world, different states, being able to work with guest artists, and sometimes you're a guest for them, and it could be a great networking opportunity, not for just you with the choreographer, it could be with the students as well. And you might have similar interests.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that.
Definitely. I think a pro to being a dancer, choreographer, or just a person following down that, that going down that path is you get the treat, to be in other spaces and meet different faces that you might have never ever met on a regular day. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes I think just being a dancer on a serious level is that not sometimes, but like it at times, if not all the time, it can take you places. Being a dancer, being a choreographer, your dreams, whatever it is, it can take you places. And that's that's the beauty of it all.
Definitely.
It can take you places. And also you can take people places.
Definitely.
You can take people places with your work that you're putting on. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I did write exposure to music and culture. Being able, I know for me, when I went to New York, I was like, I knew I had to be on my A game, but let me tell you, I never worked so hard in my life. And it was just like, this is a great opportunity for me to showcase my craft, working with this choreographer that I admired, and seeing their work ethic and seeing how I can expand my audience and also experience different genres of dance. And it's just like the person that I was initially, great dancer, but let me tell you, even better now. It's just, it was just a very humbling experience. And I cherish that moment to this day. And I can't wait to, once it's safe, during when the pandemic kind of settles, it would be nice to go to other countries and explore how they choreograph, how they dance, and expand my knowledge on their different cultures and different mindsets, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully finding your sense of purpose.
Yes. Definitely.
Did you have any other pros that you had?
Oh, I think it's just bringing it back down, just creation. Like you're creating work, and it can be lucrative, not just financially, but like soulfully, you know. There's there's just a lot of ups to being a person that uses their body as an art form, but just period, like whatever it is that you're creating, like, yeah, I think those are the pros. I think that's the biggest pro of it all, just creating it and being fulfilled from the hard work that you put in as an individual, from your own like willpower, concentration, the research. Some pieces require research, like certain things, I don't know. But yeah, I think there's a lot of fulfilling aspects to being a dancer, choreographer, artist.
I would like to conclude this by saying that dance is an art form that embodies movement, passion, and desire. And being able to tell your story through a narrative of movement or dialogue can make you a better person. And reaching out to your audience is definitely important. Being able to tell a clear story and a clear message, maybe people may expand their views, maybe people might not like your performance, but it's up to you to take that criticism or that feedback and make you a better person. Dance is not to be overlooked, but to be shined about because it brings everyone together, whether you're deaf or mute or any type of disability. Dance does not discriminate. I have seen some companies who have people in wheelchairs with able-bodied dance, and being able to show that they're not really handicapped. It's just our perception because we see them in a wheelchair or whatever other object that they're using. But yeah, there's a lot of pros and cons. Just do your research and take on any opportunity that comes your way.
Mm-hmm.
And be humble and be grateful for every opportunity and just be a better person. Don't judge people, support one another. And yeah, thank you, Shaffany, for being a part of this.
You're welcome.
Please tell us how we can find you.
You can find me on my Instagram, which is Shaffany. It's just SHAFFANY. You can also probably type that in on YouTube and find a couple of things on there as well. But yeah, definitely. My Instagram is a great place because my link tree of all the work that I've been in is right on there, and you can. I feel like that's the fastest way that you can get in contact with me other than my email, which is just shaffany@gmail.com. So
thank you. And you can also follow me at BPerryFilms on YouTube, Instagram, and also Clubhouse. Thank you, Shaffany, for being a part of this project. It's great to have you, and I wish you the best.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.